Hey, this is Irvin Griffin with some quick thoughts on X-Men Dark Phoenix. Let me say right off the bat, is this a terrible movie? In my opinion, no. Is it one of the best X-Men films? Nope. But would I call it one of the worst? Only by default. But let me give some props as I criticize it too. The actors in this film, Sophie Turner, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, all of them did a good job with what they had. They did a very good job with what they had. That being said, the story, if you look at it as a standalone story, it's actually not a bad film. Does it measure up to the other X-Men movies? No. I think every one of the original, well, no, let me take that back. The first two of the original trilogy was better. I do think they do the Phoenix story better here than they did in Last Stand, but overall, Last Stand was arguably a better action film. Is it as bad as X-Men Origins Wolverine? Some might argue it is. I would argue it's a tad bit better than X-Men Origins Wolverine, but it's not. That's not hard to do. Days of Futures Past and X-Men First Class easily trounces this. X-Men Apocalypse may have had actually a better story than X-Men Dark Phoenix. May have had a better story, but I do think for what they were given, I think the actors did a better job acting. Each part, you actually felt the characters. Even if when you go back and look at it, the story didn't make sense. And as far as the Wolverine solo films, no. X-Men Dark Phoenix does not even stand up. It doesn't stand up to the Wolverine, let alone Logan. And in my opinion, still, Logan should have been the final film. In my opinion. As far as I'm concerned, this was just a backstory. Because to me, the whole franchise ended with Logan. And no, I don't count Deadpool. Deadpool to me is its own thing. The Deadpool movies are their own thing, in my opinion. But the story, while not very cohesive, it certainly wasn't as all over the place as, let's say, Amazing Spider-Man 2. And you might be wondering, do I dislike this as far as my most hated Marvel films? Here are my three. Fantastic Four 2015, let me be specific, Captain Marvel, and this movie. Where would I rank it as far as these three? I would rank it third. I'm sorry. Fan Four Stick will have my undying hatred till I'm in the grave, until I see a worse film than that movie. And I don't want to go on a rant on that. Until I see a worse Marvel film, that will always be my most hated Marvel film ever. Ever. I will watch Ang Lee's Hulk before that. Now let me stop before I get on the rant. But yeah, I disliked Captain Marvel worse than I did X-Men Dark Phoenix. I mean, we knew a certain death, and yeah, I'm gonna have a little bit of spoiler here. We knew a certain death. We knew that was coming, so that was no surprise. But honestly, now the action sequences, when they did happen, they were great. The story could have been more cohesive. But as far as the Phoenix aspect of Jean Grey, I think it was better done here than in Last Stand. Although overall, Last Stand, even though that's considered one of the worst X-Men movies, Last Stand was actually a 5-star classic compared to Dark Phoenix, I gotta say. But I do think they did a better job with the Phoenix aspect here. I think it could have been better done, absolutely. But I think, once again, they did a good job with what they had. I would give it about a C. It's definitely not an A or B movie, but I would not give it a D or an F. It wasn't the worst movie I ever seen. Honestly, it's about the same level, maybe a little bit higher than Captain Marvel. Not by much. And like I said, no film, no Marvel property that I've ever seen, unless you want to go all the way back to the Captain America films of the 1970s and the one from 1990, no Marvel live action film was as bad as Fan 4 Stick 2015. Just couldn't help but take a dig at it. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section, especially if you've seen it. I'm out.